This is the Aaron Cruz Show. Politics for the people and by the people. With your host, Aaron Cruz.
Hello and welcome back to the Aaron Cruz Show. We have on with us now Laura Loomer. Many of you have heard about her and of her and know her work very well. Thank you for coming on the Aaron Cruz Show, Laura. You have a lot to share with us today, I hear.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So now Trump, the presidential office of the United States is a big one. And President Trump just came out with some really breaking information that you wanted to share with the people today. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so some really big news for people who have been censored and silenced by big tech social media companies. Today, the Trump administration created a tech bias tool at the White House website for Americans to report social media bias. And so what they can do is they can go to this link that they tweeted about, and you can fill out a form. And if you have been banned and you have been silenced on social media, you get to explain why you were banned and submit proof of the post that you were banned for. And they said that somebody may review it at the White House. And so this is really exciting for me because, as you know, I'm probably the most censored person in America right now. I'm banned on every single social media platform.
And it's not just that, it's PayPal. It's not just that, not just social media platforms. You've been banned on PayPal and some other things, right? I mean, tell us about that, because this is a full out assault on your rights as a citizen in the United States, as far as I'm concerned, and your ability to do your work.
Right, and I'm patient zero, of course, along with people like Milo and Alex Jones and Roger Stone. But yes, I have been banned on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Uber Eats, Lyft, PayPal, Venmo, GoFundMe, Teespring, which is a place to make custom T-shirts, Medium, and I even had my online access to my Chase bank account suspended temporarily. So as you can see, this is a very serious issue that extends far greater beyond just Facebook and Twitter, right? You have now banking institutions and payment processors banning people. And so I'm very happy that the Trump administration is finally taking a step to address this and recognize it. It's a little late for my liking. I wish they could have done this about 2 years ago when people really started expressing concerns. But it's better now than never, and hopefully something is done about it.
Well, here's the hope: is the reason why they've come up with this and how they've come across building this and putting this together is that they now have enough evidence to be able to take some sort of action and works towards some solutions here. Because I know in 2018, my U.S. Senate campaign was deeply impacted with election interference, is the way I look at it, by these social media conglomerates, by Facebook and Twitter, and our volunteer teams as well. This is huge. And if the White House doesn't do anything, it's putting our citizens at risk in terms of their ability to, like you, make money. Because this is a new age, a new era where online communication, sharing with individuals and doing business, it's the norm. And to not be able to do what you need to do, Laura, it's criminal on their behalf. Yeah. So leading into that, we hear you have a lawsuit going on. Tell us about that.
Right. Yeah, so I sued Twitter and CAIR, the Council on American Islamic Relations, about 2 weeks ago because, as you know, like I said, I've been banned on Twitter. And the Wall Street Journal reported in January of this year that it was CAIR, a terrorist organization that actually lobbied these social media companies to ban me. And so, this is a serious issue when you have terrorist organizations working with social media companies to ban conservatives, and especially a terrorist organization tied to Hamas, which specifically targets Jews in Israel. And I'm of course, conservative Jewish journalist. So we have a problem here.
There is a big problem here, and when I think of propaganda and I think of censorship and these types of things, my head, because I have family who escaped the Holocaust from Austria, my mind, my head automatically goes to what happened historically to the people over there before World War II, and what they were facing, and how this is like a modern day dial-up of this same hate, the same push to, as we're seeing by Ilya and Omar and others to annihilate the Jews. I mean, maybe they're not, lining us up and throwing us in trains, but they're taking away many people's livelihoods, including yourself. And this may be slow and gradual at this point, but it's ramping up, and we just can't stand for it, especially when they're targeting, like you said, certain religious groups and politically affiliated leaning groups as well. So now, what is your plan, Laura, in terms of continuing your fight for freedom for all? Where are you going with your fight?
Well, I have a website, lauraloomer.us, and luckily I have a byline on Drudge Report as well, so my website's there. I'm just going to have to start using other methods. I'm on Telegram right now, which is a messaging app, which a lot of conservatives are flocking to. I have a Gab account. I have a Parler account as well. But, of course, these platforms aren't necessarily mainstream enough yet to the point where it's going to make up for the nearly 1 million followers that was taken from me when you add up all of the followers that have been taken from me on these different platforms, right? So it's going to be a battle, but I'm hoping that Trump's new tech bias tool today really inspires some change. I know that the Trump administration is looking into this, and Republicans need to wake up fast and realize they're not going to win re-election or have any chance of winning any future presidential elections if everybody's shut down on social media and these communists and jihadists have control over our tech platforms in Silicon Valley. So
I'm loving that you say communists. I love that you say communists, because that's really what it is. Everybody talks about socialism, but what we were facing is literally communists trying to take over the government and speech and everything else, and blot out conservatives and specifically Jews. So now, where I interrupted you. Where were you going with that? I was like, I was caught on the fact you said communists, because it's
right. I was just saying that you have these openly communist tech executives who are working with terrorist organizations, and they're trying to ruin the livelihoods, like you said, of conservatives. I mean, they literally designated me as a terrorist last week when they said I was a dangerous individual. If you look at Facebook's dangerous individual policy, it says it's anyone who is a terrorist, a mass murderer, or a serial killer. Well, I've never murdered anyone, and I'm definitely not a terrorist.
Right.
And if that's the case, why is ISIS, why are Hamas, why is the Muslim Brotherhood still on Facebook, right? And Twitter.
And CARE.
So,
yeah,
and CARE. I mean, look, there's a
million
examples,
and Ilya and Omar, and several other, individuals who are pro-Islam, pro-Jew hate, and that are in Congress. So what I'm seeing is that Facebook and Twitter are not. Facebook and Twitter
are not Islamophobic.
Yeah,
it's not Islamophobic to say this. I don't know if you saw this today as well, but the left is now trying to make a big deal about the fact that the White House declined to back the Christchurch call to stamp out online extremism amid free speech concerns. So they want Muslims literally to implement Islamic blasphemy laws all across our social media platforms, and they want Islamic blasphemy laws, essentially Sharia law, in the halls of Congress, which is why they're making such a fuss about the White House declining to sign this. Why should American laws have to change because of a shooting that took place at a mosque in New Zealand, right? How come there isn't as much outrage when Muslims, right? Muslims kill people every single day, and I never see
especially during Ramadan.
I mean, let's be honest.
Especially during Ramadan,
right? I am so sick and tired. Yeah, I am so sick and tired of people going on and on about this Christchurch shooting. You know how many people died in Christchurch? Right, a little more than 50 people. All right, you know how many people die every single day at the hands of Muslims all around the world? Right, you know how many people died in 9/11? Nearly 3,000 people. So when you look at the numbers, right, when you look at the 3,000 Americans who were killed in 9/11, and you look at the Muslims, the 50 Muslims or so who were killed in New Zealand, it's really not even a comparison. And so, it's unless these people are going to start to take responsibility for the senseless killing and acts of terror that they are committing every single day, I have no sympathy for them. I have no sympathy for them.
And what they're teaching, along,
the same.
And it's not just that, it's what they're teaching in mosques nationwide on our soil, which is definitely anti-American hate and rhetoric, and skills that are putting they're putting in the hands of our youth here on our soil against our own people and specifically Jews. And we've seen that coming to light on these terrorist camps that they're building up over the country just in the last few months. And there's no outcry. There's no outcry. There's no horror or information brought to this. It's just silenced by the media. They just go on to the other rhetoric that's out there anti-Trump. So now, what are you doing? I would like to ask you, what are you doing to help drive the conversation for conservatives? Because like you said right there, talking about the anti-Islam being, it's not really a problem. It's just Islam is hate. What are you doing to drive the conversation in a positive way for conservatives to help get your message through?
Well, I'm looking to be a voice. I had a large platform and I have, fame online. And so I'm looking to kind of broadcast and platform the struggles that everyday Americans are facing when it comes to censorship and social media bias, because I know what it's like, and not everybody has the large platform that I have. And so, I've been doing a lot of reporting on my website, lauraloomer.us, about tech bias. I went to Jack Dorsey's house about a week ago and protested there by projecting the names of banned individuals onto his wall. I went to Facebook and protested in the hallway. I'm doing a lot. I handcuffed myself to Twitter as well,
right,
to raise awareness about this. And it's not just about me. I get a lot of media attention for these videos, but I do it to drive the narrative. And it's obviously very successful because I created the Stop the Bias hashtag, and President Trump has retweeted it, right?
Right.
I gave Don Jr. a Stop the Bias hat and asked him to talk to his father about social media bias. 2 weeks later, Trump tweets Stop the Bias. So I'm hoping, too, that my struggles and the stuff that I've had to deal with, along with people like Alex Jones and Milo and the many others who have been deplatformed, will inspire change in this country. And I think that, we are seeing that, because it was only 1 week ago that we were banned on Facebook and Instagram. And now, of course, the White House created this tool to report tech censorship. So, it's going to be slow, but I think that progress is being made, and, I'm excited to see what happens.
Well, I am excited, too, to see what happens, because, as you mentioned earlier, election, and we were talking about elections, election interference is fierce. And we just actually had on the show a gentleman who was censored by Facebook, and he is running for city council in LA, and this is a huge hit for Americans trying to reach the public, because this is how we communicate. And we're just so grateful, Laura, that you are out there on the front lines. You're fighting, you're communicating, you're sharing information, because you have a voice. And so many people, they're just regular folks trying to share what they believe and what they think and talk. But they're just, when they're silenced, they feel helpless. And when you're out there, you give them hope. And we're so grateful for that. And we hope that you continue forward in the fight for the people, because that's so important. Can you give us more information on your website one last time and give the people a message, like a minute or two?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. My website is lauraloomer.us. You can subscribe to my email list and read my reports there, but people can go to freeloomer.com, and that's where they can donate to support my legal fund and even just read the legal complaint. If you don't have the money to donate, you can just read it and inform yourself about this situation.
And share it, people, because she can't share it. She can't share it, everybody, okay? Laura Loomer may not be online, but what you can do is you can help share Laura Loomer information. There are workarounds, and we can be proactive. So if you want to read it, share it. Go on, Laura.
Right. Yeah, and that's what people can do. So I would really appreciate that as well. Contact your representatives, start putting pressure on them, tell them you're not going to vote for them if they don't start making this a serious issue. We need Republicans to really start to fear re-election, regarding these issues. Right. And that's what the Democrats do, right? You see how the Democrats are able to mobilize. Well, I think that this is a very serious issue. And so, it's been hard to deal with. It's not easy. I'm definitely not having a fun time dealing with this. It's very stressful. It negatively impacts your life, but I do think that, regardless of the suffering I've had to deal with and the suffering many of my friends have had to deal with, I think that, we can channel it into creating something good.
Absolutely.
And so I'm going to keep working, even though I don't have my large platforms anymore to combat tech censorship and to raise awareness and hopefully get some type of presidential action on this.
Right. Well, thank you again, Laura, for all you're doing for the people. And we're just I'm getting tears in my eyes as a fellow person, who's Jewish, have Jewish family. It's too real. I know it's been a long time since some of the persecution and the Holocaust and everything else, but this is too real. This is too close to home for me. But to see that there are people out there fighting, it just warms my heart. And thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you.
All right. We hope to have you on the show again. God bless you. This is Laura Loomer on the Aaron Cruz Show. Take care.
Thank you.
To hear more and to learn more on how you can make an impact or about the Aaron Cruz Show, visit us online at aaroncruz.com. That's ERINCRUZ.com. Thank you for joining us, and see you at the same time and the same place next week.